kind of felt angry.
I couldn't breathe.
If your own people would,
they would say they would rape the women and keep the babies.
Everybody, it's Gibbs with I Travel for Culture, and I am sitting here with three people that I just recently met. Dr. Miles from North Carolina recently sponsored a trip to Togo, and one of their the group's destinations was the Cape Coast Castle in Cape Coast over in Ghana. And so I had an opportunity to meet these three people on the trip. This is Jenny, this is Q, and this is Sean. And while I was touring the facility with them, I think that each one of us had our own experience. You know, we had our own emotions. And I saw that in the group, it was a big group, but with three of these people particularly, you know, I connected with them and, you know, shared a mutual experience. So just tell me about your experience that you had at Cape Coast Castle. What was it like for you, Jenny?
When I first got there, I was like, okay, we were going through a tunnel, and I didn't really understand the dynamics of it because they had the pictures of different people who had passed and like killed, and then we went, and then as the tour was going on, I kind of felt angry.
Okay.
And that emotion was behind, because I know why this castle is here, for slavery. So when we were going through the tour, and I went through the dungeon, I think it was the male's dungeon, going down deep, and then the tour guide was telling us of how 700 of people were just standing in a little room with 3 air vents, not that much air, until they died, and then they moved to the next room. So as I was going through the room, I'm an empath, so I already feel things, and I was already hearing things.
Mm-hmm.
And some said, don't touch the wall, but I touched the wall. As I was coming out, I touched the wall. My hand got bloodshot red and swole up, and I just started crying. What I was feeling was agony, despair, like I can feel everybody in there. Like I could see them squished up, dead. I mean, it was like spirits, a lot of spirits touching the wall. And I'm just like, oh God, I just touched the wall. And it was like, I felt everything. Yeah. Like I could feel the pain that they were stuck, couldn't get out. And it was just like, I just started crying and crying and crying. So I didn't came out, and I got prayed over.
You know, I had a similar experience. It was a little bit different though. I just felt like I couldn't breathe. Like there was a moment where I just felt like I couldn't breathe. Mm-hmm. And then all of the things that I learned in school, you know how like we go to primary, secondary, adult school, college, and most of us have had some sort of Black history class before, but they didn't teach us this.
Not at all.
This is not, this was glossed over. You know, the torment that the captives suffered. And then, you know, as they were entering into slavery, you know, the room that they had, you remember the room that they had over there where the waiting to die,
waiting to die.
You know, and when people
no return.
And when people went into the room, they weren't returning. And they wouldn't remove anybody from the room until everybody died.
Right.
I was just like, how can you be that callous to another person? We weren't viewed as people, you know. But you know, I'm just like, I was thinking, we're not doing our children justice. Yes. Everybody needs to see this and experience this for themselves, because this is the true story about the transatlantic slave trade. What was in your mind?
Man, it for me, it was a lot of emotions, and I don't think I've completely just processed all of them. It's gonna be probably weeks to unpack all of the, I guess, thoughts, ideas, and the experience. It's gonna take a while just to kind of really get a true feeling of what's going on. I think physically I had, some physical connections with it. Where when I walked into the male dungeon, I feel all the hair on the back of my neck raise, and it was I don't know, just like goosebumps. And another part is hearing, I guess, the story where some of our people were involved in having us put in that situation. So that brings a whole nother emotion, and it almost kind of makes you look at, almost like, who can you trust? If your own people would put you in that situation, not even to just think about the other people who were involved, who came to this country and took and that kind of thing. So I say it's almost like it makes you angry, it makes you sad. It's almost like a call to action. What can I do? Is there something we can do to get back? I mean, it's just a wide range of emotions for me, which, like I say, it'll take a while for me to just truly unpack it and kind of be okay with it.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
I don't even know if a few weeks is an adequate amount of time to process that. We're talking about a long time here. What were you feeling when you went in, when you entered that space? Because we were there for a couple of hours together. Sean, what were you feeling when you were there?
I think what really, really got me was when they would say they would rape the women and keep the babies and take the babies from the mom. They would allow the moms to nurse them for a certain amount of time, but then they would separate the moms from the babies, and then they prepare the moms to be sold into slavery. I think that really got me, because you're taking me already from my family, then you're raping me, you're violating me, and then now I have something to hold on to that forcefully happened, but now you're ripping me again from what I just birthed, right? Out of, and it's like, go ahead. It's time for you now to be sold into slavery. And so just walking around and seeing everyone, how different people was experiencing in different ways, I just sat back. And then one moment, we was taking pictures. A guy wanted me to take all these pictures, and I was like, well, wow, is this a joyful occasion or is this sad? And then just realizing how he said that all the dead bodies, was thrown into the water. So, like, just looking at the beauty of the water, but underneath the beauty is nothing but trauma, pain, death. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So just that moment, like, I'm looking at something that's so beautiful, but it has so much pain and so much hurt attached to it.
I could smell the death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can see it.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see it.
You can see it.
Like those rocks.
Yeah.
When we were standing, when we first got there, I think you were up there with me. And I said to Quentin, I said, these people people are in these rocks. Remember I told you that? And this is before the tour. I saw him. So I was like, these people died in these rocks. And for him to say it at the tour, I was like, you can see, you can smell it. That's what I was saying, when the architecture, when you came in, the hallway was caved, but then you went and saw, when you got in the big part, you could feel death. That's when they had the different levels, like, and I didn't even understand the 3 doors. There's doors like going that you can't return back home, and return back home. Aqaba, he was saying Aqaba. That I was angry. The emotion was like, I don't understand. But then I understand that they had so many dialects in different languages that they could not communicate to fight. I don't know. See, and then we didn't get this part in American history, in USA.
Yeah, that was powerful when you said so many dialects. It was coming from all over.
I also look at this culture. They know. They live here. How many of them have been to?
It's so interesting. Like, while we've been over here, I've been meeting so many men and women from the country, and from Ghana as well. And they say, "You're my brother. You're African." And I get what they're saying. They're saying that this is your motherland. A lot of them have told me, welcome home.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you look
I've
like
heard
me.
it.
I
Yeah.
look Ghanaian. I realized that, I need to do more research on where my folks come
Yeah,
from.
me too.
Because they were telling me, hey, brother, you look like me.
Yes.
Right.
And so I just feel like when this whole transatlantic slave trade occurred for these many years, I feel like they, Dutch, British, Europeans, Americans, with all who were involved, took the best of the best. They took the cream of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
And, they would make us weak. They would try to make us weak so that we wouldn't fight back on the ships,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you find that people that look like me and you and you and you, we're dispersed. We're dispersed all over the world.
Yes.
And have you ever noticed that wherever we go, a lot of us have the same issues? We're always less than, we're always, second class.
Yes.
And it's because we've got, the slave trade that occurred in all these different places.
Yeah.
So that was the big revelation to me. And I walked away with feeling like, Gibbs, what you gonna do about it?
Right.
Like, what you gonna do about it when you get home?
Exactly.
I don't know if any of you have that same experience.
Yeah, we had to talk last night.
Where do you start?
Where do you start?
What can I do? How do I start?
Yep.
And it's not gonna happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is an era, like, he was saying, 100, 200, 300 years.
Yep. I think we can start by having this conversation more and helping people, bringing people back home.
Yeah.
Bringing people to the motherland and sharing this experience. It's one thing to hear it glossed over in the history books, but it's another thing to see it.
And I thought about, this is what I really thought about. I was sitting there, I was like, wow, we are still killing ourselves, especially in America.
Yeah.
I mean, gang violence, we're killing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you come here and you look at this and you see what our ancestors went through.
Mm-hmm.
My great-great-grandmother, her tongue was ripped out of her mouth because she wouldn't tell where a slave went, and they ripped her tongue out of her mouth. She died. So, but we still back home killing ourselves because they don't even know. And if they could come and just see and experience, it's like, wow, what are we still enslaved to?
Yeah.
We're still enslaved to a lot of things. We're enslaved to drugs, and different things. So it's like, wow, this thing is life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
And
but it starts with your mind.
Yeah.
So, with drugs or any of those tangible things, it's your thoughts.
Yeah. And it's still enslaved.
Because, I do believe he said 1 or 2 people would survive to get on the boat. Who are those?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it had to be those because we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We're descendants of
those.
Yeah.
That's good.
That survived.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's definitely more that we can do. And we had Consynergy, we have this phrase called "together is better."
Mm.
And so, if somehow or another we can combine our forces, combine our talents, because as you walk around Africa, because you guys, you went to Ghana, you're in Togo, right? Living in Togo, and you can see where there's a need, right? But each one of us, and I'm speaking to everybody that's listening to this recap and these reflections, each one of us has our own gifts and our talents. And I don't even care what your skin color is.
Right,
because everybody was affected by slavery.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So whatever if you benefited from it, if you or your people were involved from it, I believe there's a responsibility.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a responsibility here to come back, to teach, to educate, and to give, and to serve.
To serve.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's going to require. Like all those kids that we have, we talk about right now. Some of the buzzwords are dealing with mental health. Everybody's talking about mental health. It's like 20 years ago we were really talking about mental health, but I'm glad it's being recognized. It's a real thing. Can you imagine the mental health issues that one would have if they experienced what we saw. I mean, no, we just saw the recap. We know they framed it nicely for us, but
Right.
if you're going through it and you're building a people and you're dispersed over everywhere, I kind of understand why we have so much baggage.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So much stuff.
Exactly.
We've got to heal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How do we do that?
First, you need to go back to what we just saw. You got to know what you're healing from.
Yeah.
Because see, like our children's generation, like I have a teen, and she doesn't even understand. She wouldn't even understand slavery. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in my generation, our generation, we're about the same age. We wouldn't have understood standing in pieces,
Right.
peeing, and it's piled up that high, squatting and laying in it for months.
The smell.
Our kids complain about, so, I will bring my child on the next trip. Just to show the great, and even the culture here, not just we went to Cape, but Togo in itself. We stay at 5-star hotels.
Yeah.
They gotta have hot water running. So, like you was talking last night, where do we start? You gotta know knowledge. You gotta know the information. You gotta know where you come from. Because I didn't even know. I did know about this port, but I didn't know about the other two. I learned something.
Absolutely. We all do.
Yeah, I learned something. I knew it was. Well, I did. I think I didn't know about this one. I knew about Spain, but this one I didn't know about this one.
Yeah. And I went to some other areas in Ghana as well, outside the Cape Coast before I saw you guys. Well, even where maybe more in Jamestown. Jamestown in Ghana. Yeah. So slavery was pervasive, and it was a terrible thing for our people. I just hope somehow we can heal.
Yeah.
And I think this conversation, or many people I think are having this conversation around, in our country. But